The good people at Fuse Audio have released an emulation of a Germanium Preamp, the VPre-31A. The question is, will it make any real difference to my music? Will it bring a little bit of Dark Side of the Moon to my electronic productions? Let's find out. Hello and welcome to Tobisonics. It is Tuesday the 20th of July 2021. I hope you all had great weekends and the weeks have started well for you. In this week's episode, we're going to be taking a look at Fuse Audio Labs VPre-31A, an emulation of a vintage Germanium preamp. The VPre-31A is a straightforward Germanium preamp from the 1960s with loads of power under the hood. Based on the rare 4-transistor original, this pre is fueled by the special characteristics curve and even harmonic structure only found in Germanium-based designs. According to Tape-Op magazine, Germanium transistors are desirable for their sonic properties. Often described as smooth, round, and organic, they tend to distort in a pleasant manner and are less brittle sounding than silicon transistors. The drawbacks are that Germanium transistors are temperamental, hard to work on, and they can be very noisy. Germanium transistors were used in the construction of EMI's first solid-state mixing console, the TG12345, and was used to mix several iconic albums, including the Beatles' Abbey Road and Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon. Now, in all honesty, the reason why the Beatles sounded the way the Beatles sounded, or Pink Floyd sounded the way the Pink Floyd sounded, is because they were really great songwriters and musicians who worked incredibly hard with fantastic engineers and producers to create some of the most iconic albums in history. Simply running your audio signal through a Germanium preamp, or in this case, binary code through a plugin that emulates a Germanium preamp, is not going to turn you into the Beatles or Pink Floyd. And it would be unrealistic for us to expect that of this plugin. But can it give us something that in-the-box production and mixing often lack? Can it give us a little bit of texture? Can it give us a little bit of tone, a little bit of flavor? And as usual, we're going to keep things nice and tangible. We're going to break open the production for my new single, All the Little Things. And we're going to do a side-by-side comparison with the production as it was when it went to the mix engineer and the production as it was plus the VPre-31A. Alright then, let's start things off with the kick. Right now the preamp is in bypass. Let's do one more rep like this, and then I'll drop the pre on so you guys can hear the difference. You'll see straight off the bat, we're not doing an awful lot with it. We've got very little gain there. I found by setting the impedance at 600 ohms, I got a better low sound. Just a little bit of gain was enough just to give the kick a little bit more presence, a little bit more punch down in those lows. It's got a nice sound to it. I like it. I did have to adjust the trim just a touch, 0.4 dB. The gain is supposed to be self-correcting, very nearly, not quite. There's a little bit there. You have to just watch it with that trim control. Just make sure you're getting the gain right on there so you can make a decent A-B comparison. Next up, the snare. As before, the preamp is currently in bypass. Let's do one more rep like this, and then I'll take the preamp out of bypass so you guys can make a direct comparison. I like this a lot more on the snare. You'll notice we've got much more gain going on. Also a difference, instead of having the impedance set at 600 ohms, which we had for the kick, we've got it set at 150 ohms for the snare. What I'm finding is that 600 ohms is giving you that more kind of warmer, kind of low end, kind of FUD to it. And 150 is kind of lifting it up a little bit and giving it some snap and a bit of crack. Next up, let's finish off the beat with the hi-hat. Once again, the plugin is now in bypass. We'll do one more rep like this, and then I'll take the plugin out of bypass so you guys can make a direct comparison. As you can see, we're cranking some gain in there, not as much as we were with the snare, but a little bit more than we were with the kick. Once again, we're at 150 ohms as we were with the snare. I do like the texture that this is bringing to the hi-hat. It's giving us, it's like a little bit of a fizz to it. It's got a little bit of a kind of sizzle to it. It's very funky and not typical of a digital sound, I have to say. Very nice. All right, moving on from the beat, but staying with percussion, let's see what this preamp can do for us on a set of congas. In all honesty, the preamp just doesn't work for me on the congas, which is probably why I've got the gain set incredibly low. And even at that level, I still don't really like it. Regardless of which impedance setting I put it on, regardless of what I do with the phase, it's just bringing up flavors that I just don't want to be there. It's just bringing up tones that I'm not interested in. It's making them sound kind of muddy and ill-defined. Not working on this particular instrument, but hey, that's how it goes. The right saturation can work wonders. The wrong saturation, really not. Finally, let's see how we do with the synth. We've got ourselves Arturia pigments running, and we've got ourselves a high dub that comes in the end of each rep, and I've sat the pre on each of them. A little bit of a mixed bag here with this one. On the main synth, honestly, I wasn't feeling it that much. That's why I've got very little going on. I think I could probably take or leave that, to be honest. With the high dub, different story. I do like the bite and texture it gives. It does help to emphasize what the high dub is doing. It's just adding a little bit more excitement, a little bit more energy to the kind of resolve of the sequence. Alrighty, let's have a run through of everything we've done so far. So right now we've got the production running with all of the preamps in bypass. Now, the thing that catches my ear first is that texture on the hi-hat. I really like that shimmer. The snare is working extremely well. It's giving it some great smack, and I do think that that high dub on the step acid on the synth is working to give it some texture and some bite. At the other end of the scale, I would lose it on the Congas. I'd lose it on for two reasons. Firstly, because I don't think it's working particularly well on the Congas, and secondly, when I brought the preamp in on the Congas, I sort of lost some of that texture from the hi-hat. I think we're going to get a better contrast if we don't have it on there at all. We started off by asking, would this preamp give us a little bit of flavor, a little bit of texture, a little taste of Dark Side of the Moon? Well, I don't know if it's giving us a taste of Dark Side of the Moon or not, but it's definitely bringing in some texture and some flavor that I wouldn't usually associate with a digital production. Very interesting. I do like it. With the VPre-31A, Fuse Audio Labs have created a plugin that is simple and intuitive to use and allows you to hit the ground running. And when it's paired with the right instrument, it's gonna bring you a texture and a flavor that you wouldn't usually get inside the box. You can download a demo from the Fuse Audio Labs website, see if it works for your production, see if it works for the music you're making. All I can do is say that it is well worth a demo and that you will not be wasting your time. If you enjoyed this week's episode, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to my channel. It really does help me out. Thank you for taking the time. If you'd like to hear today's production in context, All the Little Things is out right now on all major streaming platforms and Bandcamp. Please check it out. If you have any questions about its production or any of the Tobisonics productions, feel free to ask me in the comments below, or you can talk to me via social media at Tobisonics. Thank you so much for watching, and until next Tuesday, good night and good noise, stay safe and stay healthy.